Market update here on the 23rd. So I'm on SPX this time because SPY and SPX have a different chart, and that chart is very, very important on this move because if you look at this right here, normally it's not that big of a deal in my opinion, and I do trade SPY a lot, but on this right here, we invalidated this move today. It can still be a diagonal. A C wave can be a diagonal, so it's still possible we go to new highs, but I just wanted to point that out. We did come back into here. That was the invalidation level. So point that out at the start of the video. With that being said, though, I am pretty bullish right now. We sold off here. I think we've made 5 waves. However, let's look at this demand zone. Where am I getting this demand zone? I don't really like that demand zone that much, actually. And actually, the better demand zone is right here. I don't know why I have this right here. 1 second. So we have a demand zone right here. And we clearly hit that and actually came outside of it and then bounced out of it. And we're back into it to end the day. So with that being said, I'm pretty bullish from here. We got 5 waves. Like that. And this whole move, the 1.61 fib, we basically hit it. We came pretty close to it. But that also makes it more likely this is an ABC pattern. You can see we barely broke outside of it. I think the 5 waves were like this. And I think ABC is probably finished. So we don't know what's going to come after this, but there is a very good possibility that we go to new highs. So here's the bear. Let's do the bearish possibility first. So the bearish possibility is that this was A. We bounce for B right here, very small bounce. And we're working on the C wave, and then this would have been the first wave. That's the bearish possibility I see. I don't see this as 5 waves down. And I don't know if I talked about that in the last video. Maybe I even said that there is a possibility of that. But the problem with that is if we bounce for a 4th wave, it's just that this first wave is so far down here, we can't really bounce more than 432. We could bounce right here and then come down, and it'd still be 5 waves. So it's not impossible, and it could be a start of a diagonal as well if it came back into the first wave. But I would just favor, based on the fact that we didn't even make it to the 1.61 fib, if we are going to go lower, it's going to be something like this. And then we'd be targeting right here at 399.5. So I think we bottom short term, whether it's going to bounce for a B wave and go lower, or are we going to go to new highs? New highs is definitely possible, even though we did come back into the first wave. It could still be like that. That's still possible. But the problem with that, though, one thing we did 100% invalidate today is this is not a 5-wave move. So everyone hoping that this was a 5-wave move, completely invalidated. It's not even possible anymore. 3rd wave cannot be a diagonal. So we just found out that this is in fact a corrective wave today. So the only possibility for new highs here is if this is the 5th wave of a C wave. So yeah, this is the only possibility right here. That's the only possibility. After that, completely finished. If it wants to go higher after that, it would have to make a B wave lower and then go higher. So Yeah, overall, I'm pretty bearish on the market long term, but short term, I'm bullish. Long term, talking about like after this move finishes, um, I think that I am pretty bullish though for this going to new highs. Just cause a lot of the charts, but it could also be a B wave. So let's get into the other charts now. Let's go to QQQ. So QQQ, interesting chart here. It made new lows here at 351.22, barely. It completed 5 waves and it has the same setup as SPY. So I think it probably bottomed as well. Although it is kind of a weird setup. You would think it would go lower than this. So maybe we're looking at a bounce and then lower. So let's see, A, B. It could be a bounce and go lower. Like I said on SPX, it could be a B wave and then go lower. In this case, it would look like, it'd probably look like this. I've been talking about 332. It'd probably be some kind of 5 wave move. And so this would probably bounce all the way back up to uh, 362 to 365, and then we would see a third wave down after that. So let's go over Microsoft because this is one of the more bullish charts I see. It has a really nice fourth wave and a great setup for earnings tomorrow. So we have this A wave here, B wave here, in my opinion, and we're working on a C wave. And I think that this can go at a minimum gap fill 338, but this gap right here is kind of where I'm targeting. This supply zone right here. This is what makes the most sense for me. So if this is down tomorrow going into earnings, then I'm absolutely going to probably do some, they're not going to be cheap calls. I'm not going to do calls. I'd probably buy some shares or sell some puts. So selling some puts tomorrow would probably be a pretty good bet because you can see here, actually I know it would be a really good bet because you don't start a downtrend like this. A, B breaks the high and then we get a 5-way move down. That's ABC 100%. So then you're looking at this right here as 5-way move. That's 100%. Not 100. I'm not gonna say 100%. Let's say like 95%. The only other possibility would be if this ended up being like a B wave and then it came down here farther. But based on the structure of this whole thing, I'm looking for a 5th wave higher to gap fill 338, potentially 346. So that's also bullish. That shows you that SPX and QQQ probably bottomed. And then Tesla sold off at 202. But the thing is, in the last video I said this is the bottom. I still think that was the bottom of the actual count. Meaning this is a B wave. So like it did go lower, but this was actually part of a 4th wave. And I think right here you actually have possibly, this is possibly a 4th wave, a really drawn out 4th wave, where this is actually, so tomorrow I would be looking for something above, probably at least to like 218, potentially 224. That's the 1.61 fib of AB. Like right there. So 224, potentially maybe 218. And yeah, if you zoom out here on Tesla, on the 4-hour, it looks to me like we are making a 4th wave here. So Let's see, let's go to the 1 hour. Yeah, I think that this is a fourth wave, and because I think this right here is actually, it's kind of a tricky chart, but I think this is probably like that, and we're currently working on a fourth wave, so you can see right here that, let's go to the daily. So daily, you can see 1, 2, 3. We need to get a green bar on the 4 hour or on the daily time frame for the fourth wave to show up here, and then after that, we can make the fifth wave down here to at least probably 185, 190. So again, I don't think the fourth wave is finished yet. Probably going to need at least 220, maybe only 218. And who knows, maybe that'll be even more after that. Maybe we'll come up here and then fall back down and be really choppy for a while. The second wave took 13 days. So this just started today. It could take all week. We could get a bounce up here, bounce back and forth. Who knows, but I am still expecting it to come down lower to at least 185, 190 or so. If it bottomed right here, that'd be kind of weird. So yeah, 185, 190. So Apple, it came down and then came back up, just the same as SPX and QQQ. It looks to me like this could be setting up for a big move higher, actually. So again, if this whole thing, see A, B, potentially like this. So Apple doesn't have earnings till like November 2nd, I think. There's a possibility that this ends up being a second wave, and we finally come up here and fill these gaps. So Apple is setting up really bullish as well, but it does have a gap below here as well. If I'm wrong and it goes lower, then I would be looking for something around probably just down here 164, kind of my original target. So if we get a third wave higher, then the market's going to absolutely rip. So you might get something like that. And if Apple comes up here all the way up to like 190, then you're going to see probably QQQ going to new highs, SPX probably going to new highs. So we'll see what happens with that, but it looks like a pretty bullish setup right here. This was 5 waves, corrective move, nice bounce off the lows. This was ABC clearly. This was 5 waves, so we have impulse, corrective, impulse, corrective. Should get an impulse move higher. NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, last video talked about wave 1 probably finished, probably going to bounce, and that's exactly what's happening here. Looking for this to at least go up here to 442, but probably this gap fill at 455 before the next sell-off. So I do think this is the B wave, and this is a wave 1. So we're looking for a wave 2 up here to 455. The dollar. So I have this drawn up right here on the dollar. Basically, I'm just looking at this to see if it's going to break outside this parallel line here. This looks like very corrective to me. But then we got a pretty nice move higher. This is probably a B wave though at this point, or an X wave. So we might be getting something like this down here. Maybe down here to like 105. But if it's corrective, that's not good because that means we're going to go higher. So you want to get an impulse move down here to the 90s. So I'm kind of waiting. Is this going to break outside of the parallel line? Then that would confirm that we are heading down here to the 90s. If we get something choppy down here to like 105 and don't break outside of here, I would be looking for another move higher over the next, let's see how long this take. This could end up being like this though. It could be A, B, C, like way down here, and then we go to new highs. So we'll see how that plays out, but I have my parallel lines drawn, waiting to see which way this goes. What else did I forget? Amazon. Amazon up 1%. And I think that this should be pretty much finished as far as downtrend for right now. Probably looking at something like that. So I think all the charts are looking like short-term setup pretty bullish. So I'm pretty bullish in the market right now, but I do think that we still have not finished this move down. And it's pretty obvious too. This is definitely ABC, corrective move. We're probably gonna get a C wave higher. Similar with Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia. Let's look at Meta. In Meta, look at this, it's setting up for potentially going up here to the gap fill at 336. Yeah, very corrective move. So you could see Meta come up here and finally get to 336 as well. But it is at 314. On Meta, just kind of wait and see, I guess, for right now. We did hit basically the top for this B wave though. So I guess Meta can go either way. It could be a nested move down. Maybe it will. Let's see where this went to. This is definitely not a 5-wave move though, unless it goes lower tomorrow. So right now I'm leaning bullish on Meta. This could end up being a lot of different things. It could end up being like this as well. There's another gap fill up here at 360. I don't know if it's going to go that high, but it could also end up being something like this and then go back up higher. I don't even know when earnings are. I think earnings are on Wednesday. So remains to be seen on Meta, but there is one of my targets is 336. I think that's the 1.61 fib of this A wave. Probably not going to get there based on this being ABC. It's probably going to be a lower B wave and a C wave higher. So anyway, we'll see where Meta goes. I don't really follow this one as much, so when I do these charts, it kind of seems like it's disorganized. But let's go over Google. So Google, we did not fill this gap here at 132 yet. We did fill this gap though at 140. I haven't done this one in a while either. So Google looks pretty damn bullish to me. Look at that. Got wave 3 here. We have what looks to be an impulse move here, but I think this is actually a C wave down to complete the overall 4th wave. And then we got an impulse move higher, pullback. It looks to me like it could go higher after this. So we'll see. This could turn into a nested move too. It could be wave 5 right here, and then it turns into a nested move. There's a gap down here at 123, or let me zoom out here and look at this on the daily. So third wave was definitely finished right here. And it's definitely a third wave. So yeah, either fifth wave is completed right here, but to me it looks like it's probably going to go higher. I would look for potentially 157. All right, let's see where the 1.61 fib is. Yeah, 157 would be my target, just based on the length of the first wave. If this is the start of a fifth wave, Google would be going to 157. So they might, the market might finish off these moves over the next couple of months. I don't know how long it will take, but we could be looking at some very bullish moves going forward on all of these charts. They all look pretty bullish to me now, and with SPX and QQQ likely bottoming here, at least short term, there is a very good possibility that we see new highs, and then that would be it. That would be the very end of the move higher. That would be the end of the B wave, and then we would move lower in 2024. So we could finish it off by the end of the year, or maybe they'll end up taking it back down, but I think I'm leaning higher at this point. So that is pretty much all there is to say right now about it. Everything looks bullish except for Tesla. Again, Tesla still looks like it has to come down here to 185, 190, but then it could be ready to go higher after that. It might end up being a lot of different things. It could end up being A, B, C like that, and then come down here and make a bigger C wave. So this could be A, B, and C. It could be a nested wave 3 as well. We'll see. But again, short term, look for a bounce probably tomorrow as well. And then eventually we'll get a move down here maybe in the next week or two to 185, 190 in my opinion. So that is pretty much it. That's what I think on the markets right now. Pretty bullish short term. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe for more updates. And I'll catch you in the next video.